Hello everyone, I'm Anastasia. I welcome you all to this new session of Fundamental of Nursing. So in today's session, we are going to deal with a very interesting as well as a very important topic, which is the bed making. So here, as we all know that being a nurse, it is our responsibility to provide a bed which is neat, which is clean, as well as a bed which will enhance the comfort level of the client. So here it is very important that we must learn what are the various steps, what are the various guidelines, and what are the various purposes why we are performing this bed making, as well as there are different types of bed which we can prepare for the client depending on their condition. In today's session, I am going to teach you about what bed making is, what is the purpose of bed making, as well as what are the guidelines that we nurses need to follow whenever we are preparing the bed for the client. This bed making is also a procedure of making a clean and a neat bed for the client. And why do we do this? We do this in order to enhance their comfort level. So here, as I've said, that this bed making is a technique or is a procedure of making a clean and a neat bed for the client in order to enhance their comfort, as well as in order to provide them a position in which it will be suitable depending on their disease condition. So whenever you make a bed, you need to make sure that you put on the bed sheet, the pillow cover, as well as their blanket in a way that it will assure the client's safety as well as provide a proper hygiene. Why is this bed making important? What is the purpose? The first one is to keep the bed dry and clean. As we know that if the bed is dry and clean, it enhances the comfort level. To perform this bed making, we make sure that we provide a clean as well as a dry linen for the client in order to enhance their comfort level. So here, when you are performing any procedure for the client, and if in case the linen has been soiled, then you need to make sure that you change the linen and provide a clean one. And here you must also make sure that you keep the linen wrinkle free. And as I've said, that there are different types of bed which you can make for the client depending on their condition. So here, whenever you are making the bed for the client, you should make sure that you make it in such a way that it will suit their disease condition. You should also keep the bed free from any food particles or crumbs. You should also help the client to be comfortable in his or her own bed. So as I've repeatedly said, that this bed making is being done in order to enhance the comfort level of the client. But this is not the only case. We also perform this bed making in order to give a neat and a tidy appearance to the unit. As we know that in a hospital setting, there are certain wards where there will be more than 2 number or 3 number of beds, right? For example, the general ward. Whenever you go to a general ward, you will be finding that there will be more number of beds which may be present depending on the hospital policy. So the number of beds which will be present in one ward will differ from one hospital to the other. So here, by performing this bed making, it not only enhance the comfort level of the client, it not only makes the client feel safe and comfortable, but it also provides a clean and neat appearance to the entire unit. And also, if there are any empty bed present in the ward, we should always make sure that that bed needs to be ready in case of any emergency, as hospital is one such place where we cannot predict which client will be coming in at what point of time. So it's very important that all the bed needs to be ready even if it is not occupied. And also, the next purpose of this bed making is to establish an interpersonal relationship. So since we know that this bed making will be done each and every single day, or also sometimes depending on the condition of the client, in case while you are providing any procedure for the client, even if you have changed the linen or even if you have made the bed, in case that linen is being soiled, then again you need to perform this bed making again. So while you are doing this, especially when the client himself is present and when he or she is using this bed, then through this bed making you can also try to establish a good interpersonal relationship with them. It also helps to economize the time, the energy, as well as the material. By performing this bed making, especially in front of the client and also the family members, it also teaches them of how they will be able to take care of the client when they are in their home setting. And this bed making is also done in order to prevent the client from having any pressure ulcer or the bed sore. So these are the various purpose of bed making. Now moving on to the next, that is the guidelines. So what are the various guidelines that we need to keep in mind whenever we are performing this bed making? The first one here is that whenever we are performing this bed making, we should make sure that we use a clean linen for each and every client, as well as we should not use any linen which is torn, which is soiled, or the ones which has not been sent for laundry yet. And also we should make sure that we never use any pin on any item of the linen. We should not shake the linen, as well as we must try our best to avoid touching our uniform with any of the linen. Any dirty, used linen or even soiled linen must never be kept on the floor, whereas it must be placed in such a place where it will be agreed by you as well as the client's family. So here, as we know that a soiled linen, if it is kept on the floor, then it will also soil that particular area. So in order to prevent this, you need to make sure that you keep it directly in the basket which is required, or you can place it in such a place where it is, comfortable, as well as it is agreed by you as well as by the family members. And we should also make sure that we always meter the corner properly as well as securely. The bottom of the sheet must also be firm, smooth, as well as wrinkle free. And if the client is ambulatory, then you can also fan fold the bed in order to enhance the comfort level, as well as in order to make it easy for them to get in and get out of the bed. The force of the draw sheet, if it is being used, then we must make sure that it must be placed towards the head of the bed, and the hems must be placed towards the foot of the bed. And here we should also make sure that the plastic bed protector must not touch any skin of the client. And while we are performing this bed making, we should also make sure that the bed sheet must be properly tucked and it should not touch the floor. And in order to save the linen from soiling, then what we can do is that we can also use a clean top sheet as draw sheet or the bottom sheet. And depending on the condition of the client, you will also be deciding how often should you change the linen. So here, if you encounter any client who does not spend more time on the bed, then here it is not necessary that the linen must be changed daily. And while changing the linens, you should also make sure that you use the proper body mechanics. That is, you should bend on your knee and not on your back. So here, whenever you are performing this bed making, the body mechanics also plays a major role. So you should make sure that whenever you do this, you do it by using the proper body mechanics. And also, by performing this procedure, you can also save your time and energy by making sure that you make one side of the bed first, then only you move on to the other side. And if you are making an occupied bed, that is a bed where the client will also be present in it, then you must make sure that you raise the side rails to the side where the client will be turned. So here we will be discussing more about the types of bed in my next session. Here, just briefly, I will be telling you what do we mean by an occupied bed. So here, an occupied bed is a bed whereby the client will be present in the bed itself, but you will still be performing this bed making. So how can you do this? You can do this by turning the client from one side to the other. For an occupied bed, then you must make sure that you raise the side rails on the side where the client will be turned to in order to prevent them from falling. And whenever you are spreading the bed sheet, you need to make sure that the smooth side of the bed sheet must touch the patient, not the rough side. The rough side will be the one beneath where you will be covering the mattress, whereas the smooth side is the surface which must touch the client's skin. And in the bed sheet, there will be the large hem and the small hem. So this large hem must always be at the head of the bed, whereas this small hem must be at the foot of the bed. And when you are making this occupied bed, you should make sure that you try to interact with the client so that they feel comfortable, as well as you should always monitor their condition. So these are the various guidelines that you need to follow whenever you are performing this procedure. Now moving on to the next, that is the general principles. So here, whenever you make a bed, especially in one particular unit, you should make sure that all the bed must look alike so that there will be a uniformity appearance. A well-made bed is the one which will be neat, which will give a tidy appearance, which is wrinkle-free, which will enhance the comfort level, as well as the one which is readily adaptable to the specific needs of an individual client. So here, whenever you make a bed for the client, you should make sure that you provide a clean bed sheet, a clean pillowcase, as well as a clean blanket for each and every client. And also it is preferable if a cotton blanket is being provided for the safety and economy of laundry. And also when you are making the bed, and if you find that the standard cotton bed sheet is not available, then you can use the top sheet as a blanket cover. And as we know that each and every equipment, each and every article, each and every item which will be used by the client will contain certain microorganisms, because these can be found everywhere on the skin, on the articles, as well as on the environment which the client is in. So the nurse must make sure that she takes certain steps in order to prevent this transference of the microorganism from the source to the new host, either through direct method or either through an indirect mode, and even to prevent this microorganism from multiplying. So in order to prevent this, what we must do is that we must make sure that all the soil, the dirty and the used linen must be sent for laundry. We must make sure that all the linens must be stored properly and in a very clean manner. We should not shake or fan out the soiled linen, as well as you must make sure that these soiled linen must never be placed on the floor or must never be in contact with our uniform, but we must place them in the laundry bag. We must always make sure that we provide a safe and a comfortable bed for the client, because in this manner it will enhance their comfort level. It will also ensure a good rest, sleep, and also prevents from complication which can occur, and can also prevent from severe complications that can occur, especially in bedridden clients, as we know that these bedridden clients have higher chances of developing complications such as bed sore, foot drop, etc. That is why it is very important that we provide a safe as well as a comfortable bed for the client. And also if we perform this bed making systematically, then it also helps to save our time, material, as well as our energy. So these are the various principles of bed making. However, there are 4 specific principles which we need to discuss in detail. Here we will be coming to know what are the various actions that we must do in each of these principles. The first one is the action of the first principle. Here as nurses, what we will be doing is that we must make sure that we perform the hand washing before and after the bed making is being done in order to prevent the cross infection. The bed linens must be changed frequently in order to ensure the cleanliness, or once this linen is removed, we should make sure that we don't place it on the floor. And while doing this, we should make sure that we do not flap the linen or even shake the soiled linen, because this can cause transference of microorganisms along with the dust. And also here, linen should be folded and held away from our uniform and even from ourselves in order to prevent the direct contact with the microorganism. Dusting as well as thorough cleaning of the bed of the client as well as of the unit must be done as soon as the client is being discharged from the hospital, so that it will be free from any microorganism. And also here, not just dusting the bed, but also all the linens, the blanket which was used for the client must be sent for laundry, and it must be thoroughly washed and placed under the sunlight so that it will be thoroughly clean. As well as whenever you make the bed, it is highly recommended that you perform the damp dusting. And since the mattress, the pillow, as well as the rubber sheets are not washed but only sterilized, so we must make sure that we protect the client from coming in contact with them by using the cover. That is why this bed linen, this pillow cover is being provided for the client. And also a nurse must always make sure that she keeps a reasonable distance between her and the face of the client in order to prevent the droplet infection. And also while cleaning any area, you should make sure that you first clean the area which is less contaminated, then move on to the area which is more contaminated. And also you must make sure that any linen which has been used in the isolated unit must first be disinfected and then sent for laundry. And any nurse who is suffering from any respiratory infection must make sure that she should not attend any client, because this can cause the transfer of microorganisms. That is why it is highly recommended, if a nurse especially is having any respiratory infection, then she should not take care or she should not attend any client. So these are the various actions which you will be taking in the first principle. Now moving on to the next, that is the actions on the second principle. As we know that whenever we are in the bed, our body exerts an uneven pressure against the mattress, and also our pressure will be greater, especially over the bony prominence. So we must make sure that there is no presence of wrinkle, of lumps, or even of crease in the bed, because this can cause bed sores due to friction which is caused between the skin and the mattress or the wrinkle sheets. So that is why it is always said that you must make sure that the linen which you are providing must be dry, must be clean, and if it is soiled, then you must make sure that you change the linen, as well as you should make sure that the linen must be wrinkle free. And when you are performing this bed making, you should make sure that the linen is properly tucked under the mattress in order to keep it fixed, tight, as well as smooth. That is why it is always said that you must first tuck one side of the bed and then move on to the other, so that you can tighten the next side and then tuck it properly. However, when you are tightening the sheet, you should make sure that you do not alter the shape of the mattress, because the mattress should always remain flat and even, and the corners must be firm and square. And if you find that there is presence of lumps in the mattress because of the collection of the cotton, then you must make sure that this lump need to be removed before the bed itself is being made, because if this is present, then it will cause the client to feel uncomfortable. And also, if any bed is not being occupied whereby the client has just been discharged while cleaning it, you should also make sure that you turn the mattress and pillows, you keep them under the sunlight so that it will be fresh and soft. And if the patient is in the bed for a long duration of time, then the tight upper linen can cause foot drop. So in order to prevent this from occurring, there are several measures that we can perform. That is, we can make a pleat in the top sheet and the blanket across the foot of the bed. We can make a longitudinal box pleat down in the middle of the bed. And while tucking the upper bedding, you must also make sure that you tell the client to flex their knees. You can also place a pillow, a footboard, or even a cradle at the foot of the bed in order to take the weight of the upper bedding. And also, while making any bed for the client, you should make sure that it gives them the freedom to move from one side to the other. Why? Because if there is freedom of movement, then it will also stimulate the circulation, and through this manner, it can prevent one from developing certain complications such as bed sore. And it also maintain their muscle tones. And also, as we know that comfortable devices will always be present in the hospital setting in order to enhance the comfort level of the clients. So if required, then we can also provide these comfortable devices in order to make them feel at ease. So these are the various actions of the second principles, and then let's move on to the next, that is the action of third principle. So here the stability of the body is assured by keeping its center of gravity over the base. The nearer the weight is held to the center of the gravity, the less the strain will be produced. That is why it is very important that the body is assured by keeping its center of gravity over the base. And also, while tucking the sheet under the mattress, flexing is usually done by the knees and the hips. And also, to reduce any strain on the back, then we must shift the position. We must work on the long and the strong muscles of the thigh and keep the back in a good alignment. And whenever you're performing this bed making, you should make sure that you do it from one side first and then move on to the other, as well as You should face the direction of work and move with the work rather than just twisting the body or overreaching the area which cannot be reached properly. So these are the actions of third principle. So this first, second and third principles must always be kept in mind when you are performing the bed making. Whereas this fourth principle, which we must do after any bed making is being performed, as well as after we reperform this bed making again. So as we know that bed making is being performed each and every day. So after you have performed all those three principles, the next bed making which needs to be done. So here what you will be doing under this principle is that you will assemble all the articles and arrange them conveniently before bed making is again being performed. You should also arrange the linen in reverse order of use. And also the bed sheet must be folded and replaced in such manner that it can be replaced easily. And after all of these has been done, on the next day when you go and perform this bed making again, you should make sure that while stripping the bed, you need to remove the linen one by one. So these are the actions of the fourth principle. So I hope you have got a clear idea of what are the various actions you must perform on the first, second, third and the fourth principle. So I hope you have got a clear insight of this topic. I'll be meeting you guys in another session whereby we will be dealing with this same topic again, where I will be teaching you about the different types of bed making. So until then, have a good day. Thank you.